Hi guys, welcome back to Oliveboard's video series on critical reasoning. So far in this video series, we have covered individual question types like assumptions, inferences, course of action, cause and effect, and so on. We learned how these question types are and how to solve them. But in exams, you might sometimes get questions which are of mixed type. What do we mean by mixed type? Well, in some questions, you might get a longer passage with more set of questions, where each question is asking different thing. Like some questions can ask inferences, some might ask cause and effect, and so on. You might also get a question where the options are asking several things, like statement 1 is an inference, whereas 2 and 3 are cause and effect, and so on. It is easy to spot these questions because the passages will be longer, there will be set questions, and the options will have 2 or 3 statements combined. For solving this question, there are 2 ways. The first way of solving is by labeling each statement. Like you go read the first statement, label either it's an inference, cause and effect, and so on. But the quicker way of solving it using a elimination method. Option पे जाइए, ऑप्शन में देखिए अगर लिखा है स्टेटमेंट 1 is an inference. So statement 1 पे जाओ, check if it is an inference. If it is not, then that option is directly rejected. So by this method, you will get to the correct answer quickly. But for solving these mixed questions, you should clearly know the definition of each of these words like assumptions, cause and effects, reasons, threats, etc. So for this, first revise all the previous videos and then solve the examples in this video. So let's move and see our first example of mixed type. Let us read the situation statement. Parisians punch into work for an average of just a little over 1600 hours annually, while Indians clock in at 3315 hours a year. French labor productivity is among the highest in the world, while Indian labor productivity is emphatically not even close to the top performers in terms of labor productivity. This statement seems to say that even though the people of Paris work fewer hours per year than people in India, their productivity is much higher. We don't have to find the cause for it. We just need to keep this in mind and see how the following statements are related to this situation. Before that, it is always a good idea to take a look at the options. We have here almost everything that we have studied before in critical reasoning. Cause, effect, neutral statement, course of action, and inferences. We have to decide now which statement is which, and let us do that. Statement 1 says, in India, enterprises are unable to invest in the machinery needed to boost labor productivity due to a lack of access to capital. This looks like a cause. Labor productivity is less because people can't afford machines, which we are told boost productivity. Let's go to statement 2 then. India's economy consists largely of small firms. A large segment of them are in the unorganized sector, which creates several hurdles to productivity and economic growth. This is also a cause. Unorganized labor causing speed breaks for productivity. So we have 2 causes so far. Now we only have to choose between option D and E. Let's go further. Statement 3 says, Indians might work more than their global peers, but the government must focus on enabling them to work better. This statement suggests that government should intervene to ensure better productivity for Indian workforce. It is not a cause or an effect, yet it could be a course of action. Let's see statement 4 now. Slow labor productivity leads to financial and social instability as pointed out by noted economists across the world, as is seen in India. This statement goes on to describe what can happen because of less productivity. So it is an effect. Statement 5 says, labor productivity is not necessarily proportional to the number of hours clocked in. This is not an effect. of less labor productivity in India. Rather, it is a conclusion drawn from the information about labor hours and productivity in Paris and in India. So, we can say that this statement is an inference. So, what will be the correct answer here? Option D. 1 and 2 are the causes, 3 is a course of action, 4 is an effect, and 5 is an inference. So, we hope you learned how to solve such questions without spending too much time on them. Let me tell you one important thing. A very similar question appeared recently in RBI Grade B exam. Let's see one more set question where the passage will remain the same, but question stem will ask different things of you. चलिए question देखते हैं. The directions are given as follows. A statement introducing a proposal is given below, followed by 6 statements that speak further on the same theme and context. Read the statements and answer the questions that follow. Before we proceed, take a moment to pause this video and read through the passage and the statements that follow it. Because this is a set question, we cannot go by option elimination, जो हमने पिछले प्रॉब्लम में यूज किया था. We will have to actually go through each statement and relate it to our premise. We'll have to label each of this premise according to what is asked in the question. यहाँ 3 set of question है. So let's see what are asked in these sets. First, let's see what 3 things are asked in the question. The first thing is a threat to a proposal. The second thing is a statement that does not support the proposal, and the third thing which is asked is a course of action following the proposal. So the best way to solve it is statements को एक-एक करके पढ़िए और उन्हें लेबल करिए कि इनमें से कौन सा थ्रेट है, कौन सा कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन है और कौन सा वीकनर स्टेटमेंट है. So let's do that now. Even before we go to the statements, since we know what 3 things are asked, they are all asked on proposal, we should figure out what the proposal is. In this case, it is right there in the first line. Bangalore Metropolitan Transport Corporation has announced a system wherein school and college students can apply for passes directly from their schools or colleges. Then we will go through the statements and see if we find what we are looking for: a threat, a course of action, and a weakening statement. But in सबसे पहले, let's do a quick recap of the 3 things that are asked here. What is a threat? Well, a threat will be a statement that will make it harder for the proposal to be implemented. Then, what is a course of action? Course of action will be some steps that can be followed to implement the proposal. And the last one, what is a weakener? A weakener is something that will cause you to question something in the passage. But यहाँ हमें ये नहीं पूछा गया है कि proposal को क्या support नहीं कर रहा है. We are asked what is not supporting the passage. So हमें सिर्फ वो statements नहीं लेने होंगे जो proposal के against हो, but anything that is against the entire passage. इसलिए एग्जाम्स में ध्यान रखना कि क्या पूछा गया है. Reading the question stem is very important. So what will we do next? We will read each of these statements and label them as threats, weakeners, or course of action. But remember, these steps can be none of these also. So उसका भी ध्यान रखना है. Now let's look at these steps and label them. The first statement following the premise says, students who have lost their passes and those availing new passes for the current academic year can apply with the required documents and prescribed pass fee at Kempagoda bus station. This is giving more details and instructions about what the proposal will involve. Steps undertaken by the proposal. This is talking about one aspect of how this proposal will be implemented. So this will be a course of action. Let's see the second one. Students need to inform their schools and colleges about the requirement. The nodal officer of the institution will subsequently enter the travelling details of the students in the student achievement tracking software. This is telling us what the students need to do to get the pass, and what the nodal officer will then do. It is giving us finer details of the process. So this is also a course of action only. Remember, in this case, we are not checking for whether this will be a successful course of action or not. We are just looking for course of action. This will save us a lot of time. Otherwise, we will be stuck figuring out if this is a valid course of action or not. And we might even make mistakes here. Let's move to the third statement. A lot of students are signing up for shared taxi services which cost roughly the same amount per month as that of the buses. Now, this is telling us about how a lot of students are preferring an alternate mode of transport than BMTC buses at roughly the same cost. It is giving us some information that indicates that fewer students might be using the BMTC passes or applying for them. Because it is providing an alternative to the proposal, it is weakening it by reducing the need for the proposal in the first place. So, this is a statement that we should remember for the question that is asking which does not support the given proposal. But do remember, this is not a threat to the proposal itself. Keep that distinction in mind. A threat should make the proposal harder to implement. Fourth statement देखते हैं. Many schools and colleges in the city have not been covered under the system announced by Bangalore Metropolitan Transport Corporation. Now, this statement is definitely not in support of the premise. If many of the schools and colleges of the city are not covered under the announced system, the effects of implementing such a project might be limited. Therefore, 4 weakens the given premise. Let's see the fifth one. Since the issuance of new passes through educational institutions could take some time, the corporation has also permitted students from class 1 to PUC first year to travel from their residences to colleges or schools with the previous year's bus passes up to June end. By this time, we know how to recognize this as a course of action, right? It is telling us finer details of the rollout of the proposal and the steps taken to ensure that students' commute is not affected by it. चलिए final statement देखते हैं. There is a new malware virus attack spreading rapidly across Bangalore in particular, whose prime targets are government websites like that of BMTC being used by schools and colleges. Now we are being told about a virus attack that spreads on government websites in Bangalore, and specifically like that of BMTC site being used by schools and colleges. This is giving us specific information about what could prevent the plan from being implemented itself. So this one is definitely a threat to the proposal. So now that we have identified all the statements and labeled them as course of action, threat or weakener, it will become very easy to answer our set questions. चलिए एक एक करके हमारे set question answer करते हैं. Our first question is asking about the threat, and we saw that only statement 6 was a threat to the proposal. So directly we know the answer is option A. The second question is asking which of the following is not supporting the proposal. We saw that both statements 3 and 4 were weakening the statement. So our answer will be option B. Let's see the third question. It is asking what will be the course of action for the proposal. We saw that statement 1, 2 and 5 were all supporting as course of action. So option C will be the correct answer. So this brings us to the end of the video. Here we saw a passage in which we had a proposal and then some set of questions asking course of action, threat, weakener, etc. So हमें ये ध्यान रखना होगा कि critical reasoning में आजकल नए टाइप के क्वेश्चंस आने लगे हैं. And you have to be prepared for anything that comes. Just take care of the basics and you will get this question correctly all the time. कुछ लोगों को लगता है critical reasoning concept based नहीं है. ऐसे वैसे कैसे भी आंसर को एक्सप्लेन कर देते हैं. But that is not the case. We learned each and every type of critical reasoning in this video series and learned how to solve it systematically. So, keep practicing critical reasoning and this will definitely become the most scoring topic for you. So, keep practicing. All the best.